Suppose evil scientists removed your brain from your body while you slept and set it up in a life support system in a vat. Suppose they then set out to trick you into believing that you were not just a brain in a vat, but still up and about engaging in a normally embodied round of activities in the real world. This old saw the brain in the vat is a favorite thought experiment in the toolkit of many philosophers. It is a modern-day version of Descartes' evil demon, an imagined illusionist bent on tricking Descartes about absolutely everything, including his own existence. But as Descartes observed, even an infinitely powerful evil demon could not trick him into thinking he himself existed if he did not exist. Cogito ergo sum, I think therefore I am. Philosophers today are less concerned with proving one's own existence as a thinking thing, and more concerned about what in principle we may conclude from our experience about our nature and about the nature of the world in which we apparently live. Might you be nothing but a brain in a vat? Might you have always been just a brain in a vat? If so, could you even conceive of your predicament, let alone confirm it? The idea of the brain in the vat is a vivid way of exploring these questions. But I want to put the old saw to another use. I want to use it to uncover some curious facts about hallucinations, which in turn will lead us to the beginnings of a theory of human consciousness. In the standard thought experiment, it is obvious that the scientists would have their hands full, providing the nerve stumps from all your senses with just the right stimulations to carry off the trickery. But philosophers have assumed for the sake of argument that however technically difficult the task might be, it is possible in principle. One should be leery of these possibilities in principle. It is also possible in principle to build a stainless steel ladder to the moon and to write out in alphabetical order all intelligible English conversations consisting of less than 1,000 words. But neither of these are remotely possible, in fact. And sometimes an impossibility, in fact, is theoretically more interesting than a possibility in principle, as we shall see. Let us take a moment to consider, then, just how daunting the task facing the evil scientists would be. We can imagine them building up to the hard tasks from some easy beginnings. They begin with a conveniently comatose brain, kept alive, but lacking all input from the optic nerves, the auditory nerves, and all the other input paths to the brain. It is sometimes assumed that such a deafferented brain would naturally stay in a comatose state forever. But there is some empirical evidence to suggest that spontaneous waking might still occur in these dire circumstances. I think we can suppose that were you to awake in such a state, you would find yourself in horrible straits, blind deaf, completely numb, with no sense of your body's orientation. Not wanting to horrify you then, the scientists arranged to wake you up by piping stereo music into your auditory nerves. They also arranged for the signals that would normally come from your inner ear to indicate that you are lying on your back, but otherwise paralyzed, numb, and blind. This much should be within the limits of technical virtuosity in the near future, perhaps possible even today. They might then go on to stimulate the tracts that used to innervate your skin, providing it with the input that would normally have been produced by a gentle, even warmth over the belly surface of your body. And getting fancier, they might stimulate the back nerves in a way that simulated the tingly texture of grains of sand pressing into your back. Great, you say to yourself. Here I am lying on my back on the beach, paralyzed and blind, listening to rather nice music, but probably in danger of sunburn. How did I get here, and how can I call for help? But now suppose the scientists, having accomplished all this, tackle the more difficult problem of convincing you that you are not a mere beach potato, but an agent capable of engaging in some form of activity in the world. Starting with little steps, they decide to lift part of the paralysis of your phantom body and let you wiggle your right index finger in the sand. They permit the sensory experience of moving your finger to occur, which is accomplished by giving you the kinesthetic feedback associated with the relevant motor signals, but they must also arrange to remove the numbness from your phantom finger and provide the stimulation for the feeling that the motion of the imaginary sand around your finger would provoke. Suddenly, they are faced with a problem that will quickly get out of hand. For just how the sand will feel depends on just how you decide to move your finger. The problem of calculating the proper feedback, generating it, and then presenting it to you in real time is going to be computationally intractable on even the fastest computer. If the evil scientists decide to solve the real-time problem by pre-calculating all the possible responses for playback, they will just trade one insoluble problem for another. Because there are too many possibilities to store, in short, our evil scientists will be swamped by combinatorial explosion. As soon as they give you any genuine exploratory powers in this imaginary world, it is a familiar wall these scientists have hit. We see its shadow in the boring stereotypes in every video game. The alternatives open for action have to be strictly and unrealistically limited to keep the task of the world representers within feasible bounds. If the scientists can do no better than convince you that you are doomed to a lifetime of playing Donkey Kong, they are evil scientists indeed. There is a solution of sorts to this technical problem. It is the solution used, for instance, to ease the computational burden in highly realistic flight simulators. Use replicas of the items in the simulated world. Use a real cockpit and push and pull it with hydraulic lifters, instead of trying to simulate all that input to the seat of the pants of the pilot in training. In short, there is only one way for you to store for ready access. That much information about an imaginary world to be explored, and that is to use a real world to store its own information. This is cheating if you are the evil demon claiming to have deceived Descartes about the existence of absolutely everything. But it is a way of actually getting the job done with less than infinite resources. Descartes was wise to endow his imagined evil demon with infinite powers of trickery, although the task is not strictly speaking infinite. The amount of information obtainable in short order by an inquisitive human being is staggeringly large. Engineers measure information flow in bits per second, or speak of the bandwidth of the channels through which the information flows. Television requires a greater bandwidth than radio, and high-definition television has a still greater bandwidth. High-definition smell-o-philo television would have a still greater bandwidth, and interactive smell-o-philo television would have an astronomical bandwidth, because it constantly branches into thousands of slightly different trajectories through the imaginary world. Throw a skeptic a dubious coin, and in a second or two of hefting, scratching, ringing, tasting, and just plain looking at how the sun glints on its surface, the skeptic will consume more bits of information than a Cray supercomputer can organize in a year. Making a real but counterfeit coin is child's play. But making a simulated coin out of nothing but organized nerve stimulations is beyond human technology now, and probably forever. One conclusion we can draw from this is that we are not brains in vats, in case you were worried. Another conclusion it seems that we can draw from this is that strong hallucinations are simply impossible. By a strong hallucination, I mean a hallucination of an apparently concrete and persisting three-dimensional object in the real world, as contrasted to Flash's geometric distortions, auras, or fleeting phantom limb experiences. A strong hallucination would be, say, a ghost that talked back. that permitted you to touch it, that resisted with a sense of solidity, that cast a shadow, and that was visible from any angle. Hallucinations can be roughly ranked in strength by the number of such features they have. Reports of very strong hallucinations are rare, and we can now see why it is no coincidence that the credibility of such reports seems intuitively to be inversely proportional to the strength of the hallucination reported. We are and should be particularly skeptical of reports of very strong hallucinations because we do not believe in ghosts, and we think that only a real ghost could produce a strong hallucination. But if really strong hallucinations are not known to occur, there can be no doubt that convincing multimodal hallucinations are frequently experienced. The hallucinations that are well attested in the literature of clinical psychology are often detailed fantasies far beyond the generative capacities of current technology. How on earth can a single brain do what teams of scientists and computer animators would find to be almost impossible? If such experiences are not genuine perceptions of some real thing outside the mind, they must be produced entirely inside the mind, concocted out of whole cloth, but lifelike enough to fool the very mind that concocts them.